Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. This is another one of our career speaker series. We do have a few more coming up before the end of the year. Next month, we have an entomologist who is like a bug specialist. So that he works in various capacities. He worked actually for the county. And then we have one other after that, and I'm blanking on who it is, but we'll go ahead and advertise it just like we did. I want to welcome our guest speaker today, Steve Lakes. He is joining us to talk about his career, which is plumbing. He knows lots about all the trades, though, as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them right away. We're happy to have you kind of guide where the conversation goes. And yeah, we'll let him get started. Can you help me welcome him to what you see here? All right.
I don't really know where to start. So I'm going to start with the beginning, because the first question on the thing that she sent me was, what did I want to do out of high school? I'm young for my grade. I graduated in 2012. I was 17 when I graduated, I think. It's a long time ago. It's hard to remember. When I left high school, I originally was going to school to be an accountant. I had a high school girlfriend at the time. Actually, I'm gonna tell the whole story. It's gonna be long. I will keep it short. I had a high school girlfriend. Me and her left, and we moved to Georgia directly after high school. I went to school for accounting. She was in school for, I think, something business or nursing, something, I don't really remember. We had a child at a young age, and we had to move back. When we moved back, I still went to school for accounting, but I had to make money right away. So this pretty much starts the journey into the trades here. I had to make money right away, so I started at a factory job, just to provide for me, the girlfriend, the kid. So basically from 19 all the way to 25, making good money. Without college, I was still making good money. It was just a kind of a run-of-the-mill job, nothing crazy. At some point in that path, at 7 years at a company, you generally, especially young, most people have a lot of motivation, dedication. People don't want to just punch in, punch out. You want to go and you have a dream. You want to be moving up in the company. You want to be a manager. You want to be a boss. You want to have your own company, whatever it is. I had that. Got passed up for a promotion, which was crushing. You have all these goals and aspirations just to get passed up for somebody that maybe at the time I didn't think deserved it, but they seemed did. And then basically this is where, long story short, my journey into plumbing started. I always knew I wanted to get into trades. My best friend is an electrician. My other closest friend, he's an HVAC. And just knowing that at this point in my life, I wasn't also in the spot to start college all over again and get into something different. So I found a job that basically was going to take me with no experience. There's a lot of companies out there that'll do that. So basically, if you want to get into trades, you need no background. You could not even have touched a tool once in your life. You don't know what a main water shut off. You don't know what your furnace even looks like. You don't need any experience. These companies will take you and train you, especially nowadays, because there are so few of us. I think this is an odd number. You guys can check this, but I think the average age of a tradesman right now is like 38 years old, which that number used to be significantly lower. So as people are aging out, you're running out of tradesmen. There's less of us, so pretty much the demand is high. They'll take anybody and they'll train you. You just got to find the right company. But anyway, I found a company that would train me. Once I got trained, I was able to really open up my options, find companies that I wanted to be at because of the benefits they offered, the pay they offered, the training that they could offer me further. I wasn't forced to be in one spot. So once I found Reimer after getting trained at another company, now I'm a plumber at Reimer, and I live a pretty fantastic life. There's a lot to it. So basically my first question is there anybody interested in trades? One, I know you were interested in trades. You too should be. If you're not, women excel in trades. They make probably the most out of all of us, to be honest with you. The mindset's just different. They do really well. What was one of the other questions?
We were talking a little bit about how many different skills come into play.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So basically, I'll give you a quick description of what my position is at Reimer. When I started there, I was in install. So basically, the way most plumbing companies work, unless you get into commercial and other operations there, you have a service tech that will go out and diagnose a situation, because a lot of times you're either in walls and ceilings, who knows what you could run into underground. Someone will diagnose the problem, figure out what needs to be done, the job gets set up, and then the installers come in behind and do the work. When I first started, I was doing install, basically working on entire plumbing systems in residential. We don't do commercial. And then as I got more experience and better with the install portion, I decided that I wanted to work different hours, which this is another thing about trades. You can pretty much set up your own hours because emergencies happen at night. You don't always have to work that 9 to 5. My schedule currently is Monday through Thursday, 1 to 11. So I have every Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, obviously holidays too. Coincidentally this year, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day line up on a Tuesday, Wednesday, so that's a pretty short work week for me. Now that I work the 1 to 11, I switched to service. So I kind of do a little bit of both with service and install. So with service, you show up, I go 6-7 calls a day, 6-7 different houses, 6-7 different opportunities, I guess. You're having conversations with people you never met before. You're building relationships and basically kind of networking. Like, I was at her house to do something. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to run into, which could really benefit you in the end. You always want to make a great first impression. So the skills with that, I would say most tradesmen are not really polished. They're really rough around the edges. But when you get into service, it has made my personal skills just so much better. I can talk to people. I'm speaking in public, which I don't think I've ever done before besides a speech at my best man's wedding. So pretty much your skills with conversing with others, obviously the physical portion and the knowledge that comes with the trade, you need that stuff. Time management, there's just so much to it that really makes you well-rounded, and that's the service portion. Install, you're still going to have the same conversations, because if you're doing the work behind somebody that maybe sold the job or whatever it is, you're going to have those conversations with customers. Not a lot of people know what's going on in their house, whether it's HVAC, electrical, with their roof or plumbing. So when you do something, you have to explain it. So if you know something at a technical level, sometimes you got to drop it down to layman's terms to help people understand what's going on. So you really get a good understanding of how to deal with different people, different conversations. Sometimes you got to match up to their knowledge. Sometimes you got to go down. So there's a lot involved with the skills there. And I really do think that if it wasn't for going to people's homes every single day, I wouldn't be as well-rounded as I am now. I feel like even if it wasn't trades, I could do any job at this point. I feel like I'd fit right in, whether it's an office setting or not. So. What was the third question? I know there was more to it.
Yeah. Do you have any questions? Okay. We talked a little bit about the value of being open to learning from people who are maybe more experienced at your job. This is sort of applicable to lots of jobs.
Yeah, especially right now, like I said, I think the average age of trades is up there. It's 35, 38. The last time I checked, it might even be closer to 40. So when you come in, if you do trades, you're obviously going to be young and probably not know too much unless you've been doing it since, if you had a parent that does it. Even if you do know stuff, never act like you do, because if you're wrong, then they're really hard on you because you said you knew it and you didn't. So I always just pretend like I don't know anything. You listen to what they have to say. This goes for pretty much any job. If you are new to a job and you are not the seasoned one, I would never have you want to be confident in what you know and what you can do, confidence in yourself, but at the same time, if someone that's a senior employee, a senior tech, whatever it is, you want to listen to what they have to say. Never just assume that you know more than them or cut them off. If you have a question, always ask it. But you always want to listen to the people that have been doing the job, because even if you went to college, let's say it's something business related and you learned something in college and you're like, oh, I know how to do this, I can work, I don't know what all these programs are nowadays. You always want to listen to someone that's on the job training. They can say what they want, but you'll never be prepared for on the job right out of school. It's the nature of the beast, because every job's different. So definitely listen to the people that are experienced and a little bit older. They'll lead you in the right direction, that's for sure. Like me, I'm 29, which is ancient compared to you guys, I would say. So if you guys are considering jobs based off of financial reasons, the trades will set you up. There's no question on that. You don't need to get a degree. You could graduate. Most of you guys will graduate 18 years old. You could graduate at 18 years old. There are jobs that you could either get in the union or not. If you went into the union, you would be set up for life. If you don't want to do the union route because you want to make more quicker, you could go non-union, and there are companies out there that will train you. Reimer's one of them. There's a guy who, I think he worked at Best Buy, and he was selling TVs and things like that at Best Buy, came in, and now he's a plumber, and I won't say his name so I could say his number. He'll be close to the six-figure mark if he stays on pace. So you go from Best Buy, probably making minimum, talking about TVs and computers, to close to six figures, just like that. If you go the union route, my best friend, the electrician, he went the union route right out of high school, actually. He's well over that. He's probably 1.5, if that makes sense. I don't want to say too much for him, but 100, 150,
Right.
somewhere in there.
Would be $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
1.5 is $150,000 a year. So that's what he's talking about, just to decode.
Yeah, and that's the union route. That obviously is a much slower route to go with trades. If you go in the union, there is no shortcuts. You're going to be an apprentice for 4 years. The first 3 years are going to be, I don't want to say miserable, because it all depends on the people you work with, but they're going to be pretty miserable, because you're just going to be carrying tools, and if they need something swept up, the journeymen aren't going to sweep it, you're going to sweep it because you're an apprentice. But they will teach you more about probably life and what to expect with the trade than anybody, because those guys, once you get into a union, especially as a journeyman, or if you become a master, you're pretty much in it for life, because you'll be so set up financially. Those unions, they have better work hours, compensation with 401ks, pensions, retire. The union is the best way to go if you wanted to set yourself up for the long run. If you were interested in it, you wanted to do a trade forever, it's worth it. When I started, like I said, I was 25 or 26. I couldn't afford to do a 4-year apprenticeship. to start to make good money. So I did not go the union route. Now I'm going to be close to the 6-figure mark as well. And I pretty much cut that time in half from the 4-year apprenticeship. But to each their own. If I was young, if I could start over and do it, I probably would have went union and apprenticeship. But the non-union route, there's tests that you have to take to become a journeyman. In the union, your journeyman license, if you were to do that, is statewide. It's all New York State. If you don't go union, which I did not, you have to take a test at each municipality. So Amherst, Tonawanda, Cheektowaga, Grand Island, Buffalo. So pretty much it's more testing, a little bit more work involved. The union guys, that's one test they take at the end of their 4 years, and they're good to go. So a lot to unpack there. You could really go 2 different routes with it. Just depends on what you want to do. But financially, the trades, it's only going to get better, to be honest with you. Like I said, not a lot of young guys doing it, men or women, not a lot of young people doing it. And as the demand goes up and the supply goes down, you look better and better. So definitely a lot there. There's not a lot of careers, even out of college. You can have a degree. It's heartbreaking. I see it so much. Friends of mine, family, they get degrees. They make a good, they're living. Nothing wrong with it. But I see it more often than not. And I hope this isn't discouraging anybody. If you want to go to college, go to college. I definitely don't want to speak negatively on it. But I see it a lot where you can get a degree. They have student loans, a lot of student loans, because the dream obviously is to get out of high school, go to some fancy or nice big college, fancy college, or go far away. That's room and board, that's your tuition, that's your books. Things add up quickly. Just my own personal example, I could go back to it. When I got out of high school, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before. I grew up in the country a little bit. Have you ever seen those clay target things that fly and people shoot them with the shotguns? I had a scholarship to go do that at a college. Even with the scholarship, because it was in Tennessee, I would have left with probably $200,000 in loans for what I wanted to do, which was accounting, finance, things like that. I chose not to do it, and that's when I moved to Georgia and that whole story started. But I couldn't imagine if I had $200,000 over my head right now. I have no debt other than my mortgage, and I make a good living, and it was all from trades. So definitely encourage people, consider it, even if you're not interested in it now. Definitely just think about it, see what's out there. You never know, you might see something you like. Even if it's not something you want to do, where I'm doing service and traveling, I'm on the road all day, every day. If you don't like driving, maybe don't do service. I'm on the road a lot. You could do commercial and just show up like my buddy, he works at GM. Punch in, punch out. It's the same people, same place every day. Or you can, I say challenge yourself, because my job is challenging at times to do service. Like I said, you never know what personality you're going to run into. They're not always as nice as Miss Pava here. So sometimes you meet some mean people, some cranky people out there. So if it's financial, trust me, consider a trade. Just think about it, glaze over it, and you'll be set up for the long run, that's for sure. Questions? No?
You talked a little bit about women in the trades. We also had discussed with some of our students about the possibility of having your own business. Like, do you have any friends who are either women in the trades or have taken those skills, like you work for a company, but like the transition to having your own company? Like, do you think that that's reasonable, doable?
100%. A guy I graduated school with actually used to work for Reimer with us. He started his own company. Him and his best friend, they both worked at Reimer. They started their own. He was on the HVAC side, and the guy I know was on the plumbing side. They started their own business, and they're doing extremely well. I just talked to him probably a month ago. The women in the trades, I can't express it enough. They do so well, and I hope this doesn't put me in a bad light, but it's just something about the mindset. I feel like they're generally probably more intelligent than most of us men. You know, I really feel it's, man, they do so well. They have the mind for it. They can really multitask and manage things and plan things out. There are a lot of things, this is plumbing, but when you come to a bathroom remodel and you're trying to map out drains, water lines, all this stuff, there's a lot going on. I have to have a notepad. I can't just picture it, see what they want, and kind of go for it. I have to draw pictures and take notes. They could probably handle that a lot better. When I do those, usually it's a female client that is telling me what they want, because they're the ones that pretty much tell me how they want their bathroom. They know more about it than I. They just tell me everything that's got to get done, so it makes it nice and easy. So women in the trades do extremely well. And I don't know if anyone has TikTok, but you could look at that. You'll see them on there, and they make so much money. Probably a lot more than what I'm even speaking about for me and my experience and my friends. So yeah, definitely consider it. The women do well. As for the business portion, you can get all the experience you want. I know for plumbing, you need to be a master plumber. That's 10,000 working hours, 8 years. You can cut that short if you have someone sign off for you and you take and pass a test. HVAC, I don't know if there's tests for that, just because I've never needed to look into it. For electricians, there is, but generally, because you have to pull permits for everywhere. Everywhere in New York State, you're gonna have to pull permits. So if you ever wanted to open your own job or your own business, you'd have to be a master. You'd have to be able to pull permits, or you do things that don't require permits, which there's still a ton of money in that too. So you can basically get trained by somebody, especially if you did it right out of high school. 18, what's 8 years? 26 years old, 27, maybe 28 if you take your time and just start banking money, and you could really take off. If you have your own business, there's a lot, even more money to be made. If I'm making the money that I am, and I know pretty much everyone I work with is making, what's the company making? Imagine if you didn't have all that overhead. We're huge. Reimer's huge. We have, I think, 130 employees. I think there's like 80 trucks on the road. All that gas, all that maintenance. They wrapped all of our vehicles, all our uniforms, paying the people in the office, all this overhead. How much do they get? And if you had your own business, I don't even want to think about it. I'm gonna get myself excited because I don't want to do it. Just because I have my wife and my son. My son's 10 years old, which is why this is really easy to talk about, because I'm gonna tell him all the exact same things that I'm telling you guys. And we plan to have another. So for me, for a business, probably not feasible. It's a lot more time. Your phone's always gonna be going off, especially in the trades, because emergencies happen. But that's where you make your money. You could pretty much do anything you wanted. If you want to open a business, 100%. If you want to work for a company, you'll live well. So.
We just have a few more minutes, so maybe if you could share, like, what is your favorite part of your job, or what you like best about your job? The paychecks. That's always great. No, you get a sense of accomplishment. If you do anything with your hands, anything that pretty much the average person is not capable of, you feel great about it. If you go into someone's house, especially emergencies,
water lines burst. Water is just pouring out everywhere, and there's some pump doesn't work at the same time. You go in there, you're fixing the water lines. They don't even know where their main shutoff is. You teach people things, you're educating people, and when you fix it and when you're done, the customer, they will look at you like you're a hero. That part is nice. To you, it may seem like it's nothing. You know, you do this every day. You're fixing water lines, or you're fixing HVAC or electrical. That gratitude and appreciation, they don't even care about the cost of things anymore. They just go, oh my goodness, thank goodness we're not flooding anymore. Everything's fixed. We have hot water. We have this. We have that. That part is really nice. It makes you feel good. And again, you're doing something that most people can't, especially in a world today where everything's going to technology and AI and this and that with computers. No one's going to want to work on things themselves, and I would say that. Or when you do something really awesome, like we install tankless water heaters, and when we, basically if you take an old water heater and it looks all cruddy in the utility room, we build this wall, we put the tankless up there. I think the color of copper looks really good. So we have all shiny new copper and it's all pretty. I think that's really rewarding. So just, you know, you get a satisfaction about doing something yourself, working with your hands, accomplishing a task. It's really nice. I would say that. And again, the money. But
All right, well, I think we'll end it there. If you guys have any questions that you didn't want to ask in front or just want to come up, you know, we'll have just a couple of minutes before the bell rings. If you don't mind, join me in thanking Mr. Lakes for coming out on his work day and sharing with us. Make sure that you, I think everybody got one. Let's see. Make sure you do that